Hello, viewers. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on which side of the globe you find yourself. You are all very welcome to another insightful and seasoned program with our very honorable guest speakers. So, this is Global Leadership Group. We are very much interested in building capacity for leaders because we believe every success comes from the leaders, comes from leadership. So we've taken it upon ourselves, or this group have taken it upon themselves to train leaders all the time. So once in a month, we do this free leadership talk show with very seasoned guests, very experienced in their various fields. So zooming straight into the program, I want to introduce our lovely guest speakers. Um, the first one is Mr. Olufemi Murano. Mr. Olufemi is currently the Executive Director, Business Transformation and Innovation Unit of Inlax Limited, focusing on opening up new markets and introducing innovative information technology products into the sub-Saharan African markets. He is overseeing Inlax regional offices across Africa, as well as the financial business division. He is a highly driven, performance focused executive with strong experience in building and attracting the industry's brightest talent and the ability to exceed quotas with a motivated team. He is a very versatile executive strategist for core market drivers, product planning, negotiation, and sales support delivery. Furthermore, he has extensive expertise in meeting goals in challenging circumstances. He has attended the Senior Executive Program Africa at Harvard Business School, Boston, USA, to broaden his leadership knowledge and make a meaningful landmark across Africa and worldwide. He attended Leading Digital Transformation and Innovation at INSEAD, France, to increase his knowledge of the digital solutions impact on the current dispensation. Mr. Moreno is a fellow of the Institute of Brand Management of Nigeria, Nigeria Institute of Management, Institute of Credit Administration, and Institute of Strategic Management Nigeria. He began his career in the IT industry in 1990 and has held various positions in manufacturing, food processing, and IT consulting firms in the last 3 decades. He has attended several courses and conferences covering leadership, management, functional business transformation, innovation, strategy, project management, sales, and etc., held locally and abroad. In October 2024, he was awarded the category of the Supportive Executive Director of the Year for Business Growth Expansion Consolidation by the Institute of Credit Administration, Nigeria. Mr. Olufemi, you are welcomed.
Thank you very much. A nice meeting everybody online this evening.
Yes, sure. Okay. So our next honorable guest speaker, he's not new to this program. He's Professor Kofi Sapon Edu Menu. Prof. Kofi Sapon is an associate professor of wireless communication networks at the Department of Computer Science, University of Ghana. He is an academic with over 45 publications published in reputable journals with 1,000 plus citations. His current research interests include wireless sensor networks for environmental monitoring applications, artificial intelligence, applications of IT in education and society, data warehousing, data cleansing, and programming foundations. He's a he's an educational technology consultant for UNICEF, UNESCO, the Commonwealth of Learning, and the World Bank. He is a lead judge of the National STEM Innovation Contest. He supports technology in education for the Center of National Distance Learning and Open Schooling, an agency under the Ministry of Education. He serves on several committees in the University of Ghana. He is a program assessor for the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission. He is a member of the Internet Society Ghana chapter and the Chartered Institute of Computing and Information Technology Ghana. He founded Ladies in Tech Ghana, an association that empowers females in computer science related programs at tertiary and second cycle institutions. He is a mentor, a leader, and a tech enthusiast. Prof, you are warmly welcomed.
Thank you very much, and good evening to everyone.
Good evening. Yeah,
I'm glad to be here this evening as well.
yes, please. So we are expecting our lady our lady guest speaker when she joins, then I introduce her also. Yes, please. So without wasting much time, our topic for this evening is mentorship and sponsorship, cultivating the next generation of leaders. I'll repeat it: mentorship and sponsorship, cultivating the next generation of leaders. So, Prof, um, can you briefly share your leadership journey and how mentorship or sponsorship played a role? Actually, your experience, in your experience, what are the key differences between mentorship and sponsorship? No, I think you need to unmute. Yes.
Yes, yeah.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much. And once again, good evening to our friends and family members online. It's
Yes,
been
please.
wonderful to have all of us once again to discuss and see how we can grow um, our leadership skills and also support areas that we find ourselves as leaders. So I would trace my journey in two major ways. I think one is church more oriented, and the other one has to do with school oriented. So right from basic one, I began some leadership uh, styles right there. So I was made to be cleaning the board by one of my teachers who thought that she wanted to assign responsibilities in the class. So I was made the blackboard cleaner, and taking that leadership role, it meant a lot at the time. But gradually from there, jumping into the upper primary levels, I play leadership roles ranging from class prefect to cupboard monitor until I got to GHS, where I became the school prefect. And then right from there, all this journey has been up to that level because some teachers identify some potentials in us and saw the need to grow and groom us. So growing and grooming us simply meant that they intentionally at times appointed us to play some leadership roles because they saw that leadership in us and they saw that we're eager to accept and lead. That eagerness prompted some teachers who we looked up to begin looking at how they can place us at different places to play some role. So I would say that right from the beginning, in school, I had either played a cupboard monitor, a class prefect, a cupboard monitor, a class prefect, until I got to the GHS 3, where I had to assume the senior prefect of my school. It continued when I got to Prempeh College, where I had my secondary school. I played leadership roles as well, because somehow I followed up whatever I was doing at senior GHS, and there I took the first position even in SS1, which is a post prefect. So SS1, SS2, I was a post prefect. Got to SS3 and became the house prefect. So you can see all through the journey, there were some roles being played. And like I said, there were individuals who identified what you can do and then tell you that, hey, you are good at this. Can you play this role? So it tells you that in there we see some mentorship, whether inherently, whether explicitly, or some way somebody identifies and see you can do something because you exhibit those characteristics. So I would just move it up until from senior high to university, all through the cycles. I had played one leadership role or the other until today. Even in my employment levels, I've either taken a role of a head of department, I've taken a role of an examination officer, I've taken a role of the dean of the faculty, a lot of roles. But the big question here is that we were identified. Someone saw the need and then decided to groom us. So yes, the journey of leadership begins right from sometimes even your mother's womb, when your mom begins to try to, even in her whilst you are a baby, tries to move you up and sign some important discussions on how to do things. So mom doing things, you also learning to do things, and when you are out there, you look at what you can do, and then people identify those strengths and those skills in you, and then they try to bring it up out of you. So then mentorship becomes a key thing, because somebody must see you and then be able to identify those abilities and potentials that you have, support you to grow in those areas, and then you can build up your leadership skills. It is very important. If you don't get somebody to mentor you, you may not be able to succeed on the journey. So yes, mentorship crucial, but sponsorship also, unlike mentorship, goes far, 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 to an extent where you need some senior leaders or senior guys who are within the area of work or somewhere within your domain to move you up a ladder where you cannot move on your own. So I think that sponsorship, simply put, I will say that you need somebody to advocate for you. You need somebody to push you so that you can be visible. You need somebody to champion you and advance you. Okay, that is the difference between mentorship and sponsorship. So mentorship, you are more focused because you are looking up to somebody who shares insight with you, who offer you some advice, who provides some guidance. It could be personal guidance, it could be professional guidance, it could be whatever guidance the person is offering you. But the moment sponsorship comes in, then the person or the individual is willing to now move you to a ladder, a point where you would ordinarily would not have been exposed to that area. So the person pushes you to give you visibility and then champions your cause, so that critical opportunities that ordinarily would not have come your way comes your way. And that is something that is very important. We all need the two. We need mentorship as well as we need sponsorship. Sometimes you need others to hold your hand and move you to a certain level. It's not a bad idea at all. We need that because there are some pedestals. It will take you some time to reach that place. So you need to really move into it. That is why through mentorship, we gain sponsorship and then we climb up. Because when somebody mentors you and see that you really have the potential, then the person is willing to move you at risk to sponsorship. Okay, because sometimes sponsorship, people may be very skeptical if they don't really know you and they can't vouch for you, then it's more critical. But when they can vouch for you, meaning that they observe you from afar, mentored you one way or the other, directly or indirectly, advised you, given you some key things, and you have taken those things into consideration. Hence, they can push you to a further point and then give you that exposure and that platform. So you can see that global leadership group, I can say that it's a platform giving that kind of sponsorship. You know, it's giving us some kind of exposure, holding our hands as a group or as a platform to provide further, insight or advancement onto everyone who is part of this group. And that is where sponsorship becomes very crucial, very important in our journey as leaders. We need these two things to really move on. So, in brief, I would say that yes, the journey does not just start when you have reached a certain height in life, but sometimes when we're growing up, gradually at church, we are given some roles, you play some kind of key roles in there. Inherently, people identify you, and then they build you up, they give you some kind of roles to do. The moment you do it better, they add up. When you do it better, they add up. Then you build your leadership skills inherently. Then they expose you. Somebody afar can see you and say, no, this gentleman, this lady is very good. Let me mentor this person. And you begin. Other ways too, somebody can see how you look like and approach you that, hey, please, I have followed you and I want you to mentor me. Those ways are also there. And then you can offer the necessary guidance and support for these individuals for them to also grow and become bigger than you or reach your height equally. So I want to put this across as first initial comments on the question that you have raised. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Prof. I mean, this is very, very detailed. This is very detailed. Thank you so much. So before Mr. Olufemi, I take your ideas on these same points, I'd like to introduce our lady guest speaker in the person of Madam Winifred Cotin. Madam Winifred Cotin is a results-driven technology leader passionate about enabling success through strategy, innovation, transformation, and empowerment. With over 20 years of experience leveraging information technology as a strategic enabler, she has built a distinguished career, driving impactful change and delivering measurable outcomes across diverse industries. Winifred began her career as a software engineer in the banking sector, advancing to spearhead digital and data-driven information initiatives in high-stakes environments. She is recognized for her ability to align technology strategy with business objectives, fostering innovation, optimizing operations, and driving sustainable growth. Her leadership has been pivotal in accelerating organizational transformation and creating value through innovative digital solutions. As a trusted advisor and thought leader in Ghana's technology ecosystem, Winifred actively contributes to industry discourse and has received multiple accolades for her impactful contributions. Madam, you are welcome.
Thank
Yeah,
you so much. Thank you. Can you
thank
hear
you.
me?
Yes, please. I
Yes.
can hear you.
All right.
Sure.
Thank you so
Okay.
much for having me
You are
on the show. Looking
you
forward
are
to a great session.
sure, sure. Thank you. Thank you. So I go back to Mr. Olufemi. Yeah. I want to find out if you have something to add to what Prof said on
Okay.
the yes, please.
Okay. Thank you very much, and thank you very much for having me on this call. I think I do want to repeat what Prof said, but I see mentorship from just three verticals. Number one, your ability to guide somebody to be able to succeed in life. Number two aspect of it is your advice to that same person as well. And then number three is aiding and also supporting the person to be able to develop career-wise. So I think I see mentorship from that perspective. And it's a critical part, especially when you are a young person that is about to grow into a new responsibility. You need to sharpen your technical skill and be able to also look at more in terms of your communication skill, your decision making skills as well, to be able to grow to the next level. In terms of sponsorship, in sometimes in some circle they refer to as relationship currency. You know, it's actually the ability for somebody to recommend you for the advancement of your career. And people cannot recommend you because anytime they put a bet on you, they also take, it's like staking their integrity. So they need to get it right. They need to ensure that they need to be convinced that you will deliver at the end of the day. And that's something that that play out in my career. I knew at the initial stage of my career, like Prof said, we all have two lives. We have the church life. We also have the the technical life and related services. And I think what has happened over time, right from primary school days, I've been school prefect. I've been occupied various positions in both primary, secondary school, and also in the university as well. But something play out every time somebody guides you and say, okay, what you are doing right now, this is not totally right. I think you can improve on these aspects of this. You know, that guidance is also a means of mentoring you. And I always tell somebody, it's not somebody that you can have a control over that you can call your mentor. It's somebody that will be able to look at you eyeball to eyeball and tell you, you need to improve on this. You need to actually see these aspects of your life to get better. Your technical skill is also required to be able to achieve these desired results. So in such a process, I think I've benefited more from that. Sponsorship as well, I've also benefited. You know quite well, there is a stage you get to in your career. It's not just about your technical competency that gets you promoted. Somebody must be able to say, this young man can get to this stage and I think he's going to deliver. And that same person is putting the stake on you. It's like putting a bet on you to be able to deliver. So I think I see from that way, without repeating Prof. Advancement in career is the focus of actually sponsorship, and then be able to tell you precisely to say, this young man, let us promote him to this level. And that's something he can do. And I think I see from that perspective, in addition to what Prof just said. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So what I mean, I gathered from what Prof said and what you also said. So it's more of the person exhibiting some characteristics of being a leader, or some exhibiting some potentials in him or her, and then someone else higher, or somebody who is more versed in that field, identifying this person and then grooming him, introducing him to certain levels so that the person can exhibit all that he or she has. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Um, yeah. So, Madam Winifred, so please, why do you think mentorship and sponsorship are crucial for leadership development today? And how can leaders identify and nurture high potential individuals within their teams?
Thank you so much. That's a great question. Before I answer that question of how leaders can identify high potential individuals, there's one more contribution I would want to add on from the earlier question. So, one of the places for the foundations for leadership development and then identification and mentorship is home, is the home. So, usually in the family system, you would realize that from the time you are born, your parents would start entrusting various assignments to you, and how you perform, the attitude you adapt during those formative years would be a key driver of success in your leadership journey as you move on through the various spheres or phases of life. So I just wanted to add that because when we are home, usually we don't think we are receiving leadership development or skills, but that's one of the fundamental places where our ability to deliver on assignments, our proactiveness, our ability to anticipate needs, our judgments, our management styles and skills, and our people skills are formed at home fundamentally before we even step into the external places where others can observe and notice these attributes. So wanted to just add that on.
Thank
Um,
you. Thank you. It's a
so
valid.
going Sorry, happy.
I said it's a very valid addition. I mean, it's a
Thank
valid addition. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. So going to the question of how can leaders identify and nurture high potential individuals within teams, I would say from my experience, it's usually from two key areas. Two key areas. One is observation. Observation. Every good leader has an eye out for who can step in to their roles or step into work that must be done or assignments that must be spearheaded. So usually leaders are always on the lookout for how people perform, their attitude towards assignments, their ability to perform under stressful conditions, and their goal-oriented nature, and then additional skill sets which they possess to make them great leaders. So if you happen to work in a team, you realize that some people keep getting leadership roles or keep as being assigned leadership roles as they move across various aspects of work or career or life experiences. And it's usually because they are able to bring out their leadership skills, which those in higher positions of authority can see and can observe. So when there's an opportunity for leadership openings, they are called to take on those responsibilities. So the first one is through observation. The second one I would say is through nurturing. Is through nurturing. Sometimes you may not have these attributes directly available when you want to look out for them within a team. However, you can still nurture someone into the role of leadership if you find someone who has a willing attitude. So the person's, I would say, teachability becomes the reason for which you would choose to nurture the person and start grooming and preparing them for opportunities of leadership. And these are the two main areas that I have found that people use to nurture and sponsor individuals into leadership opportunities. And then sometimes so people try giving out tasks. So as they are nurtured, they would give you assignments and various tasks to complete. And it is how you exhibit what kind of attributes or how you execute those tasks that would inform them whether you are worthy of being nurtured into leadership roles or whether you would just be wasting their time at the end of the day.
Thank you so much. That is so true. That's so true because there are some people that you might think, oh, you've identified them because they have certain abilities and all that. But along the line, you find out that they have certain attitudes that might not help, and probably they are unwilling to change. So if you identify another person who has a higher teachability, um, 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 like somebody that you can easily teach or somebody who can learn faster, and the person is willing, then it is more likely that you shift to that person. So I perfectly agree with you. I perfectly agree with you. Thank you so much. Thank you. So we will be going on break, and then when we come back, then we continue. Mhm. Okay, welcome back. So, Prof, please, what are some common misconceptions about mentorship and sponsorship? And how do organizations benefit from strong mentorship and sponsorship cultures?
All right. Thank you very much. And when it comes to mentorship, people have their own misconceptions, but I think that we should be very open-minded to mentorship. Sometimes people feel that perhaps maybe they are beyond mentorship. So they see that mentorship is only for junior employees. So maybe if I have become a CEO, do I need mentorship again? Or if I become the president of Ghana, do I really need mentorship again? In reality, leaders at all levels benefit from guidance. Other than that, the president of Ghana will not put in place, or the constitution will not give the president structures to have council of state and other kind of important bodies to provide guidance for the president. So you can see that misconception that leadership is for only junior colleagues, people below our rank. So as a professor, maybe I don't need mentorship, but trust me, this is even the stage where I need mentorship, looking up to my senior colleagues who have been in the game for a very long time to provide me with more guidance. They have gone through and have even gotten to the pinnacle of it. So if you are now at the first stage and climbing up, then you can see that we have not reached at all. So that's the first misconception I want to point out. Then maybe the second one is that people believe that looking at sponsorship, because somebody must hold your hand and then move you up the ladder, then it is for selected few. But that is not the case. If you play your role as a mentor or as a mentee very carefully, considering all the points that we have raised, okay, then of course, people will look beyond just following the traditional ways of doing things and then advocate for you. And this advocacy is not just for individuals who are within the selected few, but it's for all. But remember, the points that we have raised here is that people must be willing to learn, they must be willing to adapt, they must be willing to be mentored. So if you are not within this bracket, then of course sponsorship will be far from you, because nobody will want to vouch for you, and then eventually you get there and things do not happen well, and then their name are affected, or their position of interest also affected. So it's another misconception that sponsorship is reserved for a selected few. So if you are not within the bracket, there's no way people will hold your hand and push you up the ladder. But that is not the case. It's all because individuals do not somehow trust maybe our competencies to be able to vouch for us, or they do not are not readily convinced that we have really been mentored or are ready to go through the mill. Then of course there's no way they are going to vouch for us. Maybe thirdly, I also want to touch on the fact that people believe that when you are being mentored, the relationship must be formal. But it's not all the case. That's just a misconception. Sometimes it could be very informal. It could be very, you can create more organic connections. It's just a way to ensure that you are looking beyond formalities. Is when you create mentorship within the formal zones only, it makes it more artificial because you don't gel with the person who you call your mentor. In the mentorship space, we expect that individuals will go beyond just having formal conversations, formal directions, formal ways of directing the individual to grow up. No, it has to go beyond formal to sometimes informal. So that's why you need to know your mentor, and your mentor must know you, so that you go beyond that kind of formal space and then do beyond what is expected. So I believe that These are some of the misconceptions that people may have, but as we are growing as leaders, we should be very open-minded to mentorship. It doesn't matter the level you have reached, everyone needs a mentor. Even the president of Ghana needs a mentor. Every president in every nation, they all need people to guide them, in their decisions that they make, in the kind of approach that they want to use. The structures can be different. Like in the case of the president, as I was citing, he has a council of state and other bodies who are going to guide and ensure that decisions that he takes are, checked, and then they can guide him to execute them. It's a form of putting that kind of structure to ensure that he is also mentored. It's not just a winner. And when we rise up to the ladder, we become executives or chief executives. We shouldn't think that we are afraid. Now, quickly, organizations, yes, benefits from strong mentorship and sponsorship culture if you are able to increase the engagement, and then you grow individuals within the line, then there's high level of retention. Most of the organizations where a lot of people leave, they have a high retention rate. You could see that they don't grow the leaders. They don't grow people to take over from other people. But if you intentionally mentor and grow leaders, leaders must be grown. There are individuals like earlier on, our speaker rightly said, people could naturally become, they have leadership potentials. Others also, we must intentionally grow them. So if you're an organization and you don't grow leaders, you don't mentor the younger ones, the elderly ones to hold onto certain portfolios, then you don't exist, because in no time they will all leave and go to places where they feel at home. So then we have to intentionally grow leaders. We have to intentionally mentor them. When we do that, we increase the employees' engagement and retention rate, and then we also build more diverse leadership pipeline. We need to see that we need more managers, we need more accountants, we need more people in these respective areas. How do we grow them to hold onto these leadership portfolios at this time? So we intentionally grow that leadership pipeline, and then people would enhance themselves. And finally, I want to say that if organizations do plan for mentorship and sponsorship, it will enhance collaboration and innovation. It means that senior colleagues know that they need to mentor junior colleagues, and then junior colleagues they need to learn from the others. So when they come together, collaboration is enhanced, innovation is also enhanced. People become more innovative because they have an environment of growth. They have an environment where they naturally can produce and think beyond what they do, because the environment has made it so. So then, as leaders, as global leaders, we must understand that if I want to go on a certain direction, who are the people I'm holding hands and growing them along me? So I can have 10 of my personality. Okay, I can have 20 of my personality and more, so that when you are out of the space, the capacity and the knowledge and whatever you stand for inherently has been trained or built into other people who have the same thing, and then we grow in that direction. So yes, organizations have several benefits, individuals also benefit, and then we all can reach that kind of potential when we have that kind of strong mentorship and sponsorship culture. Thank you.
Welcome. So, what you said is really really true, because, so in other words, the leadership or like management, or let me say HR department, we need to be intentional about the mentorship. We need to be very intentional about it, as in when we draw our succession plans for each
Yes.
department. We need to be intentional about it, provide training, and then yeah, on the job training and outside the job training, and all that. Yeah, so we shouldn't just take it for granted, because it is something very serious.
Important. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Prof. Thank you so much. So, Mr. Olufemi, what do you have to say to that also?
That. And thank you very much, Prof, for it's difficult to always speak after Prof.
It
I
covers
think
all
the most,
areas.
Then the next round, please start from there.
Prof covers all areas.
Please, sorry about
so
that.
I think in addition to what Prof said, it's also for you to see your mentor as actually having all the answers to your questions. I think that's one of the biggest misconception as well. And when you go to a mentor, sometimes he or she does not really have all the answers. You just need to actually just guide you and provide and share experience with you and provide guidance for you. So when people just have this whole misconception that, oh, why is he not having the right answer to this question or to this my expectation, that becomes one of the misgivings. Another thing that's also very important, it's your ability to start thinking that it's time consuming. Like Prof said, it's not a formal thing. In some cases, you might just have to
Yeah,
how to do an informal engagement based on
yeah,
what is required at that particular point in time, and it's very clear. I've had some informal engagement with my previous mentor, and I tell them, "Oh, this has nothing to do with my job, but this has to do with X, Y, Z, and
yeah,
this is what I'm really expecting." So this drives a lot of growth path in terms of that. And if you look at also as well, it is not just about career advancement. I think that's also a
yeah,
misconception. People just think, oh, when I have a mentor, it's for him to grow, get me a job. Prof is in the university, go and look for a job for me because you are my mentor. No, that is not just about that.
yeah.
It can also shape the path the person is taking. For example, if somebody comes to you, he wants to go and study a course, and you said, okay, what's your ambition? What's your career ambition? And the person tells you, oh, this is why I said, Prof can say, okay, rather than actually going into this department, why don't you look at it from this alternative? And I can share a very good experience with you. The reasons I had to study computer science in my first degree was because somebody took me out to go and see an exhibition. And I was really fascinated by the way they actually inputted my name, put my date of birth, and the thing came
Yeah.
back with some information and shows, oh, this is your name, this is how old you are. So I got fascinated.
Yeah,
I said, oh, I must know the reasons why this thing is provided this type of level of information.
yeah.
And that got me entangled. So and I asked the guy, I said, what do you think I need to do? He said, oh, for you to be able to get to the university, you need to be a science student. I said, I'm already a science student. He
Of
said, you
course.
must pass your mathematics, you must pass this. He gave me all those background.
Yeah.
And when I was going to fill for the university, I had to just put it as second choice in terms of that. And as God will have it, I got into it to come and to read computer science. So what I'm saying there is this: sometimes it's not just about whatever you have developed. Sometimes it's a
Yeah.
guidance in terms of providing a clear direction for anybody in terms of that. And when you talk about sponsorship, like Prof said, it's not just about the senior leaders alone. A voice can speak on your behalf that is not a very senior person in the organization. Let me share an experience with you. We're looking for a business in an institution for quite some time, not knowing that one of the staff in the company was actually living in the house of the person we have been trying to prospect a business for a long time. And she told us that, oh, he's my uncle. I will take you to him and the job will be done in terms of that. So, when you are looking at, whereas we are focusing on very senior executive, whereas somebody that is very close to the person internally was able to take us to that same person and we're able to close the business. That is something that is critical. So it's not just about your position within the organization. It's about
Yep.
the key, the importance that person plays. Because
Yeah.
sometimes there are some voices that will speak on your behalf. You are not there. And they'll just say, oh, this
Yes.
my boss is a very good person. I think it's somebody you can actually promote at this level. Say, why do you do assessment? I remember a company that my friend works for. They would tell for them to promote you, the juniors will have to appraise you and realize that you have the cultural balance to be able to actually carry people along in terms
Of
of leadership.
course.
That's very critical, and that's something that I think we need to look at.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I think I'll stop on this note, based on what Prof has also put across.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Thank you. I'm sorry, my network is misbehaving. Yeah, but we'll still push. So, my next question goes to Madam Winifred. Yeah. Um, what challenges do leaders face in mentoring or sponsoring others, and how can they overcome them? Hold on, I don't know. Okay, sorry about that. Sorry. Hello. Please.
Yes, you are ahead.
o- Okay.
Yes, we can
Thank
hear
you.
you.
Okay. Yeah. So I was asking Madam Winifred. Okay, you can hear me now. Okay, sure. All right. So please, I was asking Madam Winifred a question. That what challenges do leaders face in mentoring or sponsoring others, and how can they overcome them? Like, what advice would you give to emerging leaders on how to find and maintain strong mentorship relations?
Okay. So for to get started, it will depend on the purpose of the mentorship. So, for instance, if there's an organization looking to mentor the next set of leaders to sustain the vision, the mission, and the services that organization offers, having challenges with mentoring uh, potential leaders can be quite daunting and can really trouble the organization. However, in such cases, I would say that the best approach would be to look out for the willingness of individuals to step into the leadership role. That's the first start. So maybe we are picking individuals and trying to nurture and groom them when they themselves do not have such aspirations. So there must be alignment of the organization's vision and goals with that of the mentees so that getting them to step into those leadership roles would be seamless. Because if, for instance, assuming I owned, let's be practical here, assuming I owned a school and I'm hoping to be able to get young teachers in the school to step into heads of department positions as the older generation may be retiring out or maybe moving on to other new opportunities. If I am trying to mentor people who do not have a passion for teaching or a passion for education, but it just so happened that maybe they couldn't find their ideal jobs and ended up in my school as teachers, it will be a very daunting task and I may really not get results from the mentorship. So first there must be alignment of the vision of the organization and passion for the organization's vision and mission within the mentee. So we have to look out for those alignments as starters. And then secondly, another approach to use may be selling the vision. So maybe the mentees you are trying to get on board are not fully giving in to the mentorship process or the sponsorship process. Then you need to look at how can you sell your mission and your vision and get them to become passionate about the cause for which the organization exists. And this is one of the leadership traits, which is also a mark of a good leader, because sometimes you are not able to influence uh, the mindset you need because you don't know how to go about it. But selling the mission, the vision, or the purposes for which the organization has been established and getting people to be aligned and buy into that would make it easier for you to mentor them into the opportunities of leadership that exist within the organization. And then if we look at it from the other side, from the mentee side, I would say that you can't be pushed beyond where you want to go. No one can drive you into a role that you don't want to assume. So one of the observations I have had over the course, I have received and I receive a lot of mentorship. I learn from several distinguished leaders depending on the objectives I have or what I want to achieve. Um, what I have observed is when the mentee is not themselves engaged, it makes the passion for mentorship go down. So a mentor may be interested in mentoring you, but you may find that the mentee is not available when you give them assignments, they do not perform, or when it is time for them to show up and receive mentorships, they are not engaged. And I think one of the struggles I have had is that unfortunately, wisdom is a commodity that is not priced and can't be priced. So, depending on the state of the person, they may not be able to value the mentorship that comes through because a lot of good information is passed on during mentorship. Like we're having this wonderful session which Global Leadership Group provides monthly. It's a lot of wisdom that is given out for free. Okay. You ask yourself the willingness of people to be able to learn these things, take notes because the distinguished expertise that are brought on board. So, for instance, this evening we have almost 60 years of knowledge being shared across the four of us. Okay, how easy would it be for somebody to have access to that kind of body of expertise or wisdom? It's not something that comes easily. But our ability to place value on mentorship becomes the key that unlocks success for us as mentees when we are being mentored. So I would say that for mentees who are looking to receive mentorship, one, you must be able to place value on the knowledge, the advice, and the skill sets that are being groomed in you. And you must also be able to recognize the value the person is giving you, that it can't actually be priced, but it would go a long way to accelerate your growth into leadership roles or into opportunities that come up. So recognizing this value that is being passed on and then submitting yourself to the training or the requirements of the leader would be what opens the door for you to be successful in your quest for mentorship or receiving mentorship from those who are able to offer you that.
Sure. That's very true. That's very true. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Madam Winifred. Mr. Olufemi, what do you say about that? What would you add to that for us?
Thanks, Winifred, for that. I think, as you have said, the key factors is actually the availability and your willingness. Those are very important. Those are very important scenarios. It must be availability is very important, and like we said initially, like Winifred said initially, you must have a teachable spirit. You must also dedicate time to this entire thing. It cannot just be a one-way affair. I cannot be looking for my mentee, whereas my mentee should be the one looking for me. you know, I want to mentor somebody. I am the one running after the man. It's like a coach running after the player, and the player is already to play. So, how do you really balance that
Yeah.
situation? So, availability is important. Identifying the areas of interest is also very important. Some people you want to mentor them in certain area, they are not really interested in that area.
Yeah.
So there is no point wasting your valuable time on them. So these are the things we have seen over time. People say, "Oh, I don't have a mentor." If you start digging down into the reason you have a mentor, you realize that they are not really serious on their own. The mentor, because the mentee must be available, the processes must be well thought. You must know the areas you want to. And some people just come for advice. They are not coming for being a mentor. They don't want to be a mentor. Just advise them on a specific area and you move on. So
Mm,
we must be able to identify these key areas in terms of whatever we
mm,
need to do. And it's applicable when it comes to the industry as well. Um, like she said initially, somebody just, she's not interested in a teaching job. or he is not interested in a teaching job, it's because there is no other job to pick up in the industry, in the country. He just felt, okay, I can manage this for now. Such people, uh, unless they start showing they become passionate about it. That's the only way you can groom them to the level you want them to be. So mentoring such people will not be able to yield the right result unless they have a change of mind in terms of how they want to go about it. Some might get in there and become truly engaging and say, okay, I never thought this is going to work out this way, but I think it's an opportunity for me to be able to see. So there are two sides of the coin in terms of every individual. So you must be able to identify the key direction for any individual to be able to actually mentor such a person. Thank you very much.
So that, yeah, I agree with you perfectly. That is very true. And Madame Melody Uber has written a comment. He said, "True, the mentee is expected to put in the work and not waste the time of the mentor." That is very true. That's very, very true. Okay, so Miss Olufemi, please, what is one key takeaway you would like our audience to remember about mentorship and sponsorship?
Okay, thank you very much. I think for me, one of the key thing I think we should people should just take home today is that mentorship helps you to grow. So, why sponsorship helps you to advance? Your growth path in terms of building your career advancement has to do with being mentored. But in terms of advancement, in terms of somebody pulling you from wherever you are to the top of your career, is actually sponsorship. So, in a nutshell, in a very simple phrase, mentorship helps you to grow, while sponsorship helps you to advance. I think I will leave that with everybody tonight, and I think it's something that we need to put at the back of our mind, and we must be able to distinguish between the two. So people sometimes has this misconception and conflicting position regarding sponsorship and mentorship, but there are two different distinct information that is passed across to an individual and be able to assist people to grow in the industry. Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you so much too. So, Prof, please, what's one takeaway you'd like our audience to remember about mentorship and sponsorship?
All right. Thank you very much. I would say that our audience and colleagues online should know that mentorship and sponsorship, they are not just supportive add-ons. So it's not just about you seeing them as supportive add-ons, but rather you should see them as strategic investments when it comes to leadership development. We need them to advance. So see them as strategic investment in leadership development. If we do so, then we'll have the ripple effect, not just transforming our individual careers, but also strengthening the overall fabric of our organization where we find ourselves, and then other people benefits from what we have achieved. So that is what I will want to end with, that this is a strategic investment in leadership development, and therefore we should not just see it as just some add-ons to, like, we just need it like that. No. Thank you very much.
Welcome. So, Madam Winifred, what's your one key takeaway for our audience?
To add on to what has been shared already, I would say that we should always view opportunities for receiving mentorship and sponsorship as a fuel and energy to accelerate us beyond what the organic process would have taken us. So, with the right advice of a mentor or being sponsored by someone, you can move way faster than if you were going to do that using your own strength. So elevation is actually the benefit of mentorship, and you tend to achieve outcomes or your leadership goals way faster than if you had attempted to do that. So leadership, sponsorship and mentorship for me is the fuel for accelerating your leadership goals and objectives. And you should see that as an opportunity to embrace, to be grateful for, and to actually appreciate.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I want to read a few of our comments. In God We Trust said, well spoken, Prof. Kofi. Then in God We Trust it says, well spoken, Oga Femi. And then in God We Trust it, place value on the knowledge given is the key. Thank you, Madam Winifred. Huh. All too soon, we've come to the end of our program. But I want to ask if any of our honorable guest speakers has something else you want to add before I round up.
Okay, for me, I think is like Winifred said,
Yeah.
it's a foil for growth, but it's also a foil to actually be able to achieve the desired result for a young, ambitious person. First and foremost, you must be ambitious to be able to drive to the next level. Ambition is important. Attitude will take you to the top, and that is what can keep a man at the top as well as a leader. Thank you.
Thank you too. Thank you too. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So anyone else?
Okay, so I think that we also need to build mentorship that resonates with our values. Sometimes, if it doesn't resonate with your value, I don't think you need to go in for it, because you want to grow within that space. So anything that is far from what you think you want to achieve, you don't need to venture it. So just target the mentorship that resonates with your values, and then you can go far. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. So thank you all. I'm sorry. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for watching us. Thank you for listening. And our honorable guest speakers, Prof. Sapon, Mr. Olufemi, Madam Winifred. Thank you so much for taking time off your very busy schedule to come and share this very important and rich experience. I mean, very serious guidance that you've given to us and our viewers. Thank you so much. Um, Oliver Twist always asks for more. So don't be surprised if I come knocking knocking on your doors again. Because in fact 1 hour is too short. I know that you have a lot to teach us, but the time is just too short. So Oliver Twist will certainly ask for more. God bless you and thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you, and God bless you too. A
Bless
nice
you.
meeting you once again, Winnie, and then
Yeah.
Mr.
Thank
Olufemi.
you very much, meeting
Thank
Yes.
everybody. Thank
It's,
you.
it's a
Yes.
pleasure.
Yeah.
All right. Have a
Okay.
blessed
Bye.
week.
You
Bye.
Bye.
too.
Bye.
Bye.